Good morning, class. Today we're talking about elements and mixtures, uh, and compounds, actually. Sorry, I can't talk like that. That's not me, but coffee's good. Anyway, hey, welcome to seventh grade science. Again, we're talking about elements, compounds, and mixtures. So, um, today, you're going to do a Venn diagram activity that goes along with our notes from the end of last week. All right. There is a video that you can watch that has me kind of going over this Venn diagram so that you understand what we're having you do. And the purpose of this is to compare and contrast elements, compounds, and mixtures. So there are a few things that all three of those have in common, and there are many things that they have that are different. And so when we use compare and contrast, we can use a tool called a Venn diagram, and some of you have probably seen these before. And that Venn diagram can be used so that we can see where things have things in common. So we're looking at really relationships. What are the differences and what are the similarities between these three different things? Because in chemistry and in science, we do different activities, different experiments, and we use these three things for different purposes in nature. So, for example, copper is an element, and in our wires for electricity are usually all pure copper. And that has to do with the properties of copper, that we want copper to allow electricity to flow through it really well. It's a good conductor and it doesn't get super hot. So we use copper for electricity. That's an element. But there are other objects or things that we use that are compounds or even mixtures, obviously. And that's important for us to understand that there are these three different forms of matter in nature, and they each have properties which come from the chemicals that make them up or elements that make them up, but they have different uses. And that's the important thing. So before we start getting into how they interact with each other, which is our next unit, we're trying to understand what's the difference between an element, a compound, and a mixture in nature. And so today you're going to do like a Venn diagram where you look at those similarities and differences. And it is similar to kind of like Notes 2.0. But after doing that, we'll be able to use it in some of our experiments and activities the rest of the week so we can further understand compounds and mixtures. We've really learned a lot about elements already. So anyway, you guys have a great day. Thank you for your time. And make sure that you watch the video over the Venn diagram assignment before you start to do it. It's just really helpful. It pretty much tells you what the answers are, but it should help you understand more what each of those three things are and how they're alike and different.